Hello and welcome back to the second episode of our sales reporting series. I'm Ollie and this episode is focused around monthly sales. This short tutorial will give you an idea of what reports are most popular and best to use for your business with Prima. The reports that we'll have a focus on today, these include the Invoice Sales analysis, the salesperson profitability reports and Invoice Lines. I've added a few extra optional reports in here too, so the sales versus gaps reports, customer reviews, non-spending customers, sales orders not invoiced, and finally sales by nominal group as well. So what I'll do, I'll switch over to my live screen and I'll just open the reports area just now. And what I will do, I'll search based on all standard reports in the system and all formats that are available as well, just so you can see the full list of reports within here. So the first one we'll focus on today is the Invoice Sales analysis. So if I just open that report just here, and with the theme of monthly sales, we're going to be looking at either last month, this month, or if you're wanting to, you can actually base this on a year's period, so you can then see kind of month by month then the information that you're after. So what I'll do, I'll make that bigger, and the first thing I would suggest is to jump into the criteria. So the criteria in the reports, this is where you can actually set the date period. If you're wanting to filter based on company or any further information, you can do that from here. So what I'm going to do is click into the date button at the top, and then as I mentioned, if you are looking for this month using the fixed period, if you're looking for last month or even this year as an example further down, these are the options you can then use, and I recommend the fixed period if you are using the automation on that specific report. If you are looking at something more specific, such as let's have a look at January, then of course then I can say actually yeah, we're in March now, but I want to look at January 2021. So you can filter on the report, and you can also use an inclusive range as well if you wanted to find from a certain date back in time up until today, etc. You can filter that too. So what I'd recommend, again, if it is automated, use fixed period, because of course that will then refresh every time the automation kicks in. So if I'm wanting to see, let's say this month on this test database, save criteria, and then jump back into the analysis sheet then to see the data for that period. Invoice sales analysis is based on posted invoices and credits. So for whatever reason, if you're not had invoices posted across to your financial system, then bearing in mind it's based on the status of posted. So just making sure that everything is posted, of course, will then reflect correctly on your reports in here. So we do have a full dedicated webinar to analysis reporting, about 30 minutes long, so there is an in-depth version of this tutorial, but just a very quick one for today's episode. I'm just going to run through a few examples of what you may want to see on screen just here. So by default, you will see the account code and company name in the rows just here. You can also then see the data, which at the moment is the nets and the net margin within the centre of that report also. On your left hand side you have got attributes, and you've also got measures towards the bottom here. So these two sections effectively is what you can have in the report. So we've already got the account code in there, we've already got the company name, net margin and the net as well. So in fact, if I'm thinking, well actually I'm not interested in seeing account code and company name for my business, I'm just interested in seeing that figure at the end of that month or the start of that month or whatever it may be, then that is then something you can do, is take away the rows, and of course you're then left with just the number that you're after. So of course you can save that, give it a name, and then automate that so you get that through once a month, once a week, whatever it may be. If you wanted to see it broken down by perhaps account manager, business group, nominal, product classification, these are all options that you can do. So if I wanted to see it some sort of performance by rep, I can bring that through, and for my business maybe I'm interested in profit, so I can bring through the landed profit into the data, and as you can see I can very quickly build the report I'm after, save as, and that's then a report that's built into the system. So when that's saved into the system, of course then you can set that up on the automated routine to send through on a schedule to your inbox. Okay, so moving on to the second report now. So if I just close out of here, then the next, I guess, report or reports I should say on this version is then the salesperson profitability reports that are in here. So there's 4 variations. So the salesperson by company profit, salesperson by company profit summary, salesperson profitability, and the salesperson profitability summary. So the 2 reports that are labelled summary are a broken down version of the 2 reports and giving, I guess, the quick fire information that you're after. Where it doesn't say summary, these 2 are the detailed reports with, I guess, the key information such as the lines that are going through, sales orders, the company information that is with that. So as an example, if I jump into the salesperson profitability summary, then if I click into that report there, and again, with each report you do have the option for the criteria. So if I jump into maximize that, into criteria, then from here I can actually define then the period that I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for just this month or last month, whatever it may be, I can set the date period, save criteria and jump back into the report. So the same for all the reports in the system. And then once you've done that, refresh the report, and that'll then bring through then the updated figures for you right there. So as you can see, a very kind of summarised report on this database. It's only 2 or 3 users, and you can then see exactly kind of the costs, the profits, the margins, and the amounts that are in there as well. If you're then wanting to provide some more detail behind that, so rather than just seeing a kind of a snapshot view, of course you can click into the salesperson profitability report, and then from there then it takes a few moments to load up, and you can then see the actual detail behind that, so exact dates, invoice references, quantities, descriptions, and all then the totals that accompany that as well. So again, into your criteria, change the actual date period you're looking for, so I'm interested actually in this month, save criteria, back into report, and then from there then take a few moments, and that'll then refresh then to that period. Okay, and just to show you then the salesperson by company profit and company profit summary, again these are popular for commission reports. So if I just click into that one, as you can see then salesperson by company profit, and then salesperson by company profit without the summary, I should say, is then in here too. So very similar reports, just broken down instead by company profit rather than the profitability. So company profit, and then also then general profitability against that rep. Okay, and then the third report that I mentioned earlier was then the Invoice Lines. So again, there's 2 variations of this report. So there's Invoice Lines Standard and Invoice Lines with customer address and last dispatch date. And when we click into that report there, as it says on the tin, it's then literally all the invoice lines that are posted in the system. So depending on the period you set, so if I just maximise that, jump into the criteria, I can then say, well actually I'm just interested in seeing this month, last month, etc. Back into spreadsheet, and I can literally then see every single posted invoice or credit line in the system, and I can also see some key information such as who's the salesperson, the company. Scrolling across further to the right, I can see things such as order source, not order source, sorry, source of selling price on this report, profits, and all the information that may be key around that too. So of course you can bring that into Excel, do some filtering and ordering, and you can then see profitable lines or most profitable lines in that period, etc. From there too. Okay, and then moving on to the optional reports that I mentioned in the system. So there are then the sales versus gaps, so broken down by account manager and company, and also another variation broken down by the company and the classification. So this report, based on a 12-month period, allows you to then see either by the account manager and then broken down by the company, or by the company and then broken down by the classification. One tip as well, if you are switching between PDF reports, sometimes you may need to jump into the settings and just clear your cache there as well, because it may cache the previous report that's been opened. But if I jump into sales versus gaps by account manager and company, then what this will then show you is literally, as it says on the tin, broken down by the account manager and then by the company over a 12-month period, all the sales, and then if there are any potential gaps. So as you can see on the test database here, the Mike Smith FC, he spent this much in the 12-month period, but actually I can see then gaps in kind of June time, August time, October, and I can see then when he's performing better from a sales point of view, that account on my database as well. Okay, and then the other one, the company and classifications. This one's more of a unique or individual basis, so you're looking then, rather than more of a global view of that account manager, you're looking then at this particular company, so Ollie Rolls FC in this instance, what they've then spent, and then again sales versus gaps along that period too. Okay, another one, the customer review. So similar kind of theme. This one's an individual customer basis, but on a monthly basis it may be the case that you're wanting to review your top accounts and seeing exactly what they're spending. So you can access it through the reports grid here, but another tip for that one would be if I dive into the company section, and if I just search for my test company in the database, and I'll just open that up. So from there then, in your very top right, you've got a quick link into customer review. So when you're in a sales order, a quote, a company record, you do have this quick link in the top right. So if I click into customer review just there, this will then bring through a visual report, gives me some information around spend, exactly in terms of the order summary, top 30 products by line, top 30 products by quantity, and that'll then pull through that information. So that's just loading up there. Okay, and if I just make that bigger, then as you can see, it's broken then down by the net spend, contract versus non-contract, monthly purchases, order and habit. So there's a lot of information that's included on this report too. Okay, and then jumping back to the reporting area. So if I just close off that report and out that company, back into reports. And the next one on the list was then the non-spending customers. So as it says in the tin, looking at customers' accounts that haven't yet spent in a certain period. If I want to see monthly non-spending customers, if I want to see it on a more year basis, I can dive into that report, make that bigger of course, jump into criteria, and then from here then I can select a specific date range that I'm after. So far it's filtered to this year, but actually I'm just interested in seeing who hasn't spent so far this month. Total by default is 0, I can change that if I want to, and I can also filter based on account manager and business group in my system if I wanted to also. Save criteria, back into spreadsheet, and I can then see what customers in my database haven't spent in that period as well. So again, another kind of useful monthly report there in the system. Second to last is the sales orders not invoiced. So I won't go into the actual report today, but this or these two reports here, the summary version and the detailed version, as it says in the tin, is sales order data that hasn't yet been invoiced. You can view that information within your sales grid if you wanted to, but it's quite useful maybe for a monthly basis to see this sort of information, just to make sure there are lines that maybe aren't being forgotten about and are being processed properly and accurately and being invoiced through the system. Or if there are an item that needs to be deleted off, of course then that report then would highlight something that needs to be addressed in the system too. And then the final report is the sales by nominal group and the period then. So if I click into that one, again, it may take a few seconds just to load up. Then from here, if I just maximise that, as you can see, by the nominal group, I can then see actually, okay, within arts and crafts, what's the performance of that, and then skipping through the report, you can then see the bespoke area, catering and janitorial, electronic office. So as you can see, it's then a full breakdown then of that period and what the totals are then accompanied with that too. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier on in this tutorial, there are webinars based on sales reporting, analysis reporting, automated reports. So there are other tutorials you can refer to help with this short video today as well. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to ask away in the live chat that will be on there now with myself and Mike on YouTube, or if you're watching this back, then hope you've enjoyed watching, and we'll see you on the next one.